If a little green is good, more is even better. Now, back to Green is Good with John Shigarian and Mike Brady.
Welcome back to Green is Good, and today we have a great friend of mine for many years on the show, Mike, which always makes it more special. Jeffrey Rassás is on with us today, and Jeffrey is not only the founder and the CEO of youchange.com, youchange.com, but he has a long history in the green revolution. He was one of the real founders, and when I met Jeff years ago, he was the CEO of pets911.com and earth911.com, two amazing and great sites which still do great things out there. And Jeff, welcome to Green is Good, and thank you for taking the time today.
Hey, thank you, John and Mike. I really appreciate the opportunity, and congratulations on the success of your show.
Oh, Thank you so much.
And Jeff, you really were, when I met you, you had already a long history of successful entrepreneurship and working in the green space and in the tech space. Why don't you share with our listeners, before we talk about youchange.com, a little bit of your history?
Sure, absolutely. My focus has always been in internet-based companies and really focused around technology and leveraging, the internet and software as a service to deliver, more efficient processes to consumers and businesses, and really a heavy emphasis, too, on the sale of electronics, which, is obviously what will transition into YouChange and where I'm at now, that I've had a wonderful career run with selling, thousands of devices and creating what ends up becoming some of the problem here with e-waste. And, along the years, we actually back in the late 90s, we developed the first Linux-based personal and internet appliance. And we were selling, roughly 5,000 units a month. And one of the leaders in that space, and really coined the phrase personal internet appliance, because we really saw a computer as an appliance for us just to be able to get onto the internet and, do what we needed to do. And, so for me, technology and software, they're all, passions of mine. And when I got involved with Earth911 and Pets911,
right,
they're really cause-focused. And Earth911 in particular really offered solutions around recycling. And one of the larger searches on the site was really for electronics. And given my background in the electronic industry as a manufacturer and sale through e-commerce, it became really important to me to find a real platform and solution around the disposal and proper recycling of electronics.
So that was the inspiration for YouChange.com then?
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about the journey then. When did you come up with the name? How did you come up with that name? And then how we have so many entrepreneurs, so many green people that listen to the show, but also so many young entrepreneurs that want to be the next Jeffrey Rassás. So why don't you share the journey, how you came up with the name and,
Sure.
and how you've made this thing, taken it to where you are today?
Well, the name's kind of funny because, really, typically an entrepreneur is trying to take a name that says what the company does, because you really want it to be, self-explanatory when people, the elevator pitch should be short, so at least the name should give some hint.
Right.
And, with this one, though, I really struggled with it because I wanted something that could, eventually expand beyond just electronics and other product categories. And I wanted something in the name that really says it all. Everyone needs to get involved and be engaged in the product life cycle. So it's okay to be a consumer. The economy needs this, Without it, the economy's not going to grow. But change is necessary, and it's necessary with us, with you. And the change really needs to occur and be equally as enthusiastic as when you bought that shiny new device and you were all excited with it, learning how to use it.
Right.
You need to be as equally engaged and excited about properly disposing it.
Right.
Particularly when the product, still might have some life. And that's really what YouChange is more about, the refurbishment and resale of products versus just recycling, which is your industry. And so in particular, that's why the YouChange was developed in the name, because we really want to be an add-on platform and product or software as a service that our partners can leverage with their pro-social campaigns, and YouChange being a name that can be leveraged beyond just electronics. So that's really where the name ubiquitous behind that.
So Jeffrey, so for our listeners right now that are not in front of their computer, and it's a beautiful website, and for those who want to go to it when they have a chance, youchange.com, youchange.com. Explain to them, give them the how it works. Give us the A to Z how your system and your vision works here.
Absolutely. We're hoping, obviously, with the PR and the news that we'll get, that people will go directly to YouChange and take advantage of the program. But but really, we're developing this to go hand in hand with strategic partners.
Okay.
Partners that are already out there, like Earth 911, will be a great partner of ours.
Great.
And they're partners that already have a substantial traffic, people coming in to figure out, hey, how do I do the right thing? How do I get involved? And with YouChange, it's really, we figured out a long time ago that people, as great as we all are, and we like to say we're doing the right thing, we're sort of creatures of convenience. And if there's not a little something in it for us and it's not real convenient, those items may end up staying in our drawers, in our closets, at our garages, and eventually in the trash when we're really sick of it, or they're so old or have no value.
Right.
So we really needed to come up with something that really create some incentive for people to, sort of get out there and do it. So YouChange, whether they come directly or they come through one of our media partners, it will be a pre-populated database of pretty much every electronic device that was manufactured and sold over, since going back 10, 15 years. And it's a real simple process. There's a calculator. People can come onto the site. There's a lot of content around why they should do this and what the problems are if they don't, and how it affects, water and landfills, etc., if they don't do the right thing. And then it gives them a really easy calculator to find their device, shows them the image, any accessories or anything that might have come along with it. Some real simple easy to answer questions, because we want this process to be really, really simple for people and take absolutely no time. And they're going to be given two things, which makes us a bit different than some of the other services that are out there, which are equally doing great for the community and the environment.
Right.
But we're providing something that's not only of cash value to them, but in addition, there's rewards. And those rewards are important because they create a currency within YouChange, so that you can use those reward points to actually then buy another product. So you might come into the site and you've got an old iPhone you want to get rid of. You find out how much you get in cash and in reward points, and then you do that on and on, because YouChange wants to be part of your life cycle of the product and part of your lifestyle. So as you buy more and more electronic products and you get rid of things, you continue to use this, you continue to accrue points. Now let's say you've got a daughter, son, wife, somebody that wants to buy something that they're okay with, maybe a product that's a year old, a cell phone that's a year old, a laptop that's 1 or 2 years old, still gets them on the internet, everything's fine. Well, they can use those reward points actually without any cash, but they can use those reward points as currency to come onto our website and buy those products.
Wow.
So as they're being rewarded for doing the right thing, those reward points are accruing. As they refer people to sign up and become members of YouChange, they're going to get reward points for that. And as those people they referred use the system, they'll continue to get reward points. So it's really something that's viral and gets people involved and really incents them not only to do the right thing themselves, but to spread the word.
Well, it's amazing, too, Jeffrey, because I think you've got a lot of business just waiting to happen. According to the National Safety Council, 75% of all PCs that were ever sold are now gathering dust as surplus electronics. That is just an amazing statistic.
You are absolutely correct, and we're all victims of it. I've run out of kids, and I was going to say wives.
No.
But I've run out of kids to give things to. But the natural progression is, okay, I've got my cell phone or my laptop. I don't need it anymore. Pass it down to to our kids.
Right.
But even the kids, they want the latest and greatest too. And
That's
I think
right.
it's the youth that end up going through technology even faster. And I tell you, beyond consumers, it's the business. I mean, when you look at these, medium to large-sized businesses, that even the smaller ones, and with what's happened with the economy, there's so many of these companies, they're either going out of business or they're downsizing. And what happens then with all those laptops that get turned in, all the PCs, the printers, the copiers? Frankly, right now, if you ask, well, what is YouChange's current, customer base?
Yeah.
I would say, largely today,
yeah,
it's the business, because
really?
that's really been, the focus for years. And U-Change went out because we believe very much in an internet-based business, but that's technology-focused. But we also believe that we have to have some oversight and control on the back-end refurbishment process to make sure it's done properly when the products are resold. So we acquired one of the larger, refurbishment facilities.
Okay.
And so from that facility, they've been in business 17 years, and they've refurbished and resold, therefore keeping out of the landfills, over 500,000 products over the years. So for us, it's a really neat deal because the business side is been one that's been most difficult to reach out to, but this company that we acquired has been doing it for 17 years. So by adding the consumer piece on top now, we really believe the business and consumer sectors will be well.
So your model, youchange.com, is going to talk to the business to business and business to consumer.
Correct.
And also, you're going to be just like our friends from Recycle Bank who've been on the show, Ron Gonen, the great CEO of Recycle Bank. You're going to be also offering points for signing up to the U-Change site, for referring other people to sign up, and as those other people recycle their materials or do transactions on U-Change, the people that brought them are actually earning points.
Exactly.
Brilliant.
And I'm glad, John, you mentioned Recycle Bank because they're really one of the partners that we've already reached out to, and we're really excited to work with them because we're hoping that we can work a program with our reward points converting to, in some way, their reward points. Because the more that we can cooperate with each other,
that's right,
is better. It's better for the consumer. It's better for the environment.
That's right. So that's what sets you apart from the other great sites, and some of them we've had some of those great entrepreneurs like Rich Littlehale from YouRenew.com. We've had him on the show before, and he's doing great on with his venture. But this is the things that set your new website, and this is taking technology to the next level and the recycling process to the next level.
Correct.
Got it.
Exactly right.
So to our listeners out there who are already used to using the great website eBay, so why wouldn't they just go, hey, Jeff, that's nice, you're doing a great thing, and U-Change sounds amazing, but I'll just do this myself on eBay. Give them a differentiating element between your site and people, our listeners, just doing their own transactions on eBay.
It's a good point. Because eBay does a phenomenal job,
right?
And I've used it myself.
Sure.
I think the challenges with eBay, really they become more of a continuity for sellers of new product, and less a one-off type. So as we're sitting around and going through our drawers and discovering we might have a device, for us to go through that cumbersome process, list it on eBay, make sure we have all, because people are very leery of doing anything with someone that doesn't have lots of feedback and lots of longevity, accepting PayPal, return all the different,
right. It's convenience.
Benefits.
Using your site is convenient over setting up your own eBay account and doing the whole thing yourself.
Plus, you're not going to get the reward points. eBay, you're going to get some cash value.
Good point.
But you're not going to get reward points. And then you don't really know, for sure when the transaction's completed because you've got to process the time during the auction. You've got questions to answer. Then you may get a situation where the buyer doesn't believe the product's as advertised, and you get bad marks on your profile. So really, U-Change is focused to be with you, not just for one transaction, but to continue to be with you because we all are going to go through electronics on a regular basis. We're not going to buy one laptop or one cell phone. It just doesn't happen.
So and so you're motivating, you're incentivizing people to behavioral change. You're paying them cash just like eBay would, but you're also throwing the points on top, and you're also giving them incentive to bring their friends and family on board because like any great affinity program out there, whether it's with hotel chains have, such as the great Starwood brand or some of the mileage points that we all earn when we fly around. This is a great affinity program and incentivizing people to do more green behavior and more recycling behavior through your affinity program.
Absolutely correct. And you hit on one other thing, the recycling piece, because, for example, as people, let's say they go through our process and they go through our calculator and maybe they have something that's 10 years old, 5 years old that really has no value.
Right.
We still want to make sure we get that because it needs to be properly recycled. It's going to go to someone like you.
Right.
it's not going to be something that we're going to process, but we're going to make sure it goes to a certified recycler, and also we're going to track that process or transaction so that we have that available for our partners down the road as we roll out licensing to the data that we're going to be accumulating on the profiles and the products that are flowing through and these transactions and through our system. But we're also, here's the key, we're going to give them reward points, even though there's no cash value, which this is another differentiator because some of the others out there, they'll say the same thing. They might say, hey, we'll take it and get it to a recycler and make sure it's responsibly taken care of, but they're not going to give you anything for that. So we're still going to give people some reward points.
Even for end of life. Even for end of life, yeah.
We believe that they're doing the right thing, and we need to incent them, reward them for that process so that we incent them to do it again and again.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. So for our listeners out there that say, okay, well, Jeff, I do have 3 extra cell phones laying around, and I do have a laptop that's finally petered out. That all makes sense to send to you through one of the, I guess they're going to be using mailback program with you, either
There's 2 ways.
Okay.
In the beginning, absolutely, we'll send them a box and postage, and
right.
They'll send it to us, which is pretty typical for how
right.
I think some of the other folks are doing it. But we're in negotiations now because we want a large footprint. We're not looking necessarily to partner up with a large sort of big box retailers. We're really, I'm kind of focused on the small guy and the small business and helping with foot traffic and increasing visibility to the old Main Street.
Right, right.
It's sort of been lost, with the big box guys.
Sure.
Not that we wouldn't do anything with the big box guys, but initially we're in negotiations currently, and with roughly about 4,000 different locations, all to do with the smaller locations. So the advantage being that there's many conveniently located, and they're more focused around food products.
Wow.
And they're going to take the U-Change reward points as points toward purchasing foods and various products, drinks, etc. within their locations.
So it pushes them to recycle more inside those locations. Once that person's there, the reward points then allow them to buy more product, and it creates a new customer for that person.
Exactly.
That's brilliant.
Amazingly enough, this is going to be almost half the population, or actually it is, but they'll process through all these locations about 150 million people annually.
So time out. U-Change, you can use online, but you're also going to have an offline model and push people who have bigger products that can be not handled efficiently through the typical mailback program, where they could actually drop it off physically themselves in their zip code or their place of business area.
Correct. And those products will be specific, and they'll, obviously, given the footprint of these smaller locations, somebody can't go in and drop off a 60-inch plasma.
Right. Brilliant.
But that'll be well defined on our site.
Great. And Jeff, let's talk a little bit. We have about 5 minutes left, and I want to make sure we cover the brilliance of your vision here and your great website, uchange.com. So what are your plans? Websites are, www, World Wide Web. Are your plans to grow this? I know you're in Arizona, and are your plans to grow this nationally and then eventually internationally?
Absolutely. I just got back from Spain, so
right.
Going around France and Spain, obviously Europe's done a much better job.
Yeah.
With this, I couldn't get even these little side streets where you're walking around these cobblestone streets. There are recycling.
Isn't that amazing? They're far ahead of us. Yeah, they're far ahead of us.
Unbelievable. Even the funny thing is, the glass that gets broken, swept up in the streets, they get put in these recycling bins. Really good process. So we're going to focus on the U.S. initially, but the plans that we've got beyond just expanding our strategic partners and retail drop-off locations, we obviously down the road are going to grow by adding some different categories like musical instruments and jewelry, other things that
cool.
are products that are equally, maybe not as harmful to the environment.
Right.
Obviously, it fits with the economic times we're in, and if one person has something they're not using, another person needs it, being able to offer the currency and the exchange, kind of like a free cycle. I really like free cycles process and how one person can directly influence and impact another individual
right.
on a 1-to-1 ratio. So doing that type of thing. And then the other thing that I want to mention is we're just in the final processes of taking UChange public.
Wow.
And it's important to us because, I've always been taught that if you're using a product or service that you really like, you should check to see if that company's public, because chances are others are going to feel the same way, and the company's going to do well. So we really felt that this is something that really affects all of our lives. It's a service offering that's going to stay with everyone, and reward points are going to accrue, so why not have it be public where people can come on and, actually be owners of the business in addition. So
that's wonderful. So people will feel part of it by owning a piece of your company.
Absolutely.
Jeff, that's amazing. We're down, we have so many entrepreneurs that listen. We're down to the last minute and a half here. Do you have any pearls of wisdom for the young entrepreneurs that want to become the next Jeffrey Rassás, that, in terms of their dream and their visions, whether it's in the green space or another business venture? What do you want to share with our listeners?
Well, I would share that if you've got a vision, you've got to visualize and believe in yourself and take the risk and execute. And, so many people second guess themselves, right out of business. And I just believe that you got to take the risks, and you got to surround yourself with a great team and great partners like yourself, John. And I've always appreciated the friendship and the opportunities that you've provided. Yeah, so
thank you.
That's what's
Feelings
really
mutual.
most important for people.
Well, Jeffrey Rassás, we're so thankful that you took the time. I know you just got back from Europe, and it was a long and trip coming back. But we wish you, Mike Brady and I, just wish you all the best with UChange.com. There's no doubt that it's going to be a massive success for our listeners out there. Go to YOUCHANG.com, UChange.com, and Jeffrey said he's taking the company public, so look for it to go public. Jeffrey Rassás, you're not only my great friend, but you are truly living proof that green is good.
Thank you very much, John and Mike. I appreciate the opportunity, and green is good. Thank you.